Let's go live. Bam. Hello, hello, and welcome back to Retrieving Sanity with your podcast host Keegan. And this is your podcast for all mental health, addiction, recovery issues, and topics. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Ron Souers, like Austin Powers, but just a little bit more tasteful, if you will. Uh, so, what if the thing you've been told is your flaw was actually your competitive edge? Today, we're flipping the script on ADHD from the stereotypes to the shame spirals and unpacking what it really means to run on a different operating system. Our guest knows firsthand what it's like to navigate ADHD, addiction, and depression, and come out on the other side with a playbook for connection, clarity, and purpose. He's here to share the superpowers most people never see and the hacks that make them work for you instead of against you. So, Ron, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. What about you?
I'm doing fairly well myself. It's Saturday at the time of this recording, so just kind of looking forward to editing all day.
Nice. Gotta
Yeah,
love it in a dark room, clipping
yep,
videos.
yes, sir.
I used to love that growing up. That was like my favorite thing to do to get away from people.
hmm
So,
Being a little antisocial, but
yeah,
but still
definitely.
but still productive at the same time, right?
Yeah, cool.
Uh, so you are the ADHD guy. What is it that makes you claim that title for yourself? What makes it to where you are you? Like, because ADHD is one of those things that a lot of us have misconceptions about. We were raised with different things of like, oh, it's bad or it's like really shameful to have or whatever. And we've come to find out that that's not really the case whatsoever, right? So, what's your story like?
Yeah, and thank you for remembering. It's actually your ADHD guy and not
Ah,
the ADHD guy. I think
sorry,
that was
sorry.
already taken. So I don't know who that guy is, but so and your ADHD guy is.
Mm,
I honestly want to be the guy that you think of when you think about ADHD. Like no one's really claimed that title. So we need like somebody who to be, you may not like that person, but you respect the fact
mm-hmm.
that he owns it,
Yeah,
and that it's a good thing. It's
yeah.
it's something like I can't change who I am.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing I can do is accept that,
Mm-hmm.
so but it hasn't always been that way. You know,
Yeah.
um when I first my first recollection of ADHD was
Mm-hmm.
when I was a young child in like first or second grade,
Okay.
and there had been an incident in in school, which I don't recall,
Mm.
but I can vaguely remember parts of being diagnosed with ADHD,
Uh-huh.
and that my dad, they wanted to prescribe me Ritalin. My dad
Mm.
was like, "No, not my son." Slammed the door shut on that
Mm.
conversation. We never spoke about it again. So,
Mm.
in my head, it was
Mm.
gone. You know, but there were so many instances.
Mm.
The one that I was able to dig up through
Uh-huh.
some of my self discovery was that, and I believe it led to that diagnosis. Was
Mm.
I stood up on the desk in my second grade class,
Mm.
and I was like yelled something, tried to be funny to try to get friends,
Uh-huh.
and I was immediately reprimanded for that and put in the front of the class and made fun of.
Mm.
So my teacher didn't actually tell my mom. I did. And like
Mm.
I don't remember telling her, but
Mm.
she said that I said I wish I could disappear.
Mm.
So I can see how that created this identity of like not being good enough to have friends,
Mm.
not being good enough to be loved because growing up, my dad really couldn't, he just didn't have the capacity to give me the love and support that I needed. And I think after he found out
Mm-hmm.
that diagnosis, it, even though he denied it,
Uh-huh.
it kind of ate at him that
Mm.
he felt like a failure as a father because he had created something that was broken,
Mm.
or he didn't believe in it, or whatever that was.
Yeah.
So I was missing that, emotional support from my father. My mother was great. She definitely did her best
Mm-hmm.
to try to, fill the gaps.
Yeah.
But, because of that identity and because of that lack of feeling like normal, or feeling like I was even worthy of it, like
Mm-hmm.
I could remember times where I would like see myself outside of myself,
Yeah.
like looking in, and it was just weird situations like that. I went through a lot of therapy,
Mm-hmm.
and then I turned to drugs, and
Mm.
I felt like that was the thing that was like going to, like, it felt right. Like I felt like
Yep.
I could be me,
Yep.
and for a while it was fun, and I felt like I could be more creative. I
Mm-hmm.
felt, I started doing other things like becoming, recording my own rap songs, and making music. And I wanted to be a director, and like
Uh-huh.
all these crazy things. Like I would have like, oh, I'm in director's mode right now, and like I'm gonna make all these films,
Uh-huh.
and then now I'm in music mode, and I can do that. So it was like looking back, like
Mm-hmm.
wow, yeah, that's definitely totally ADHD. But and I was able to somewhat coast through school, and
Mm-hmm.
get good grades, but
Yeah.
the drugs just eventually, it just became who I was and what I needed. Like I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't imagine a day without smoking weed,
Yeah.
like in order to function. And I thought
Mm-hmm.
this was like normal for normal people.
Mm.
So I was very antisocial
Yeah.
growing up and most of my life. And,
Mm-hmm.
I got fired from a lot of different jobs. And,
Mm.
what really helped was like I got into recovery,
Yeah.
and, I was able, and now I'm like, almost 6 years clean.
Nice.
Like,
Congratulations.
thank you. And that's been a journey in and of itself. And,
Uh-huh.
about discovering that, it wasn't just the drugs that were the problem.
Mm-mm.
It
Nope.
was it was like the person that I became.
Mm-hmm.
So I contributed to addiction at that point. I didn't really look at ADHD until
Mm-hmm.
I was about 3 years into my recovery.
Mm. Okay.
And that was because I was almost about to get fired again because I couldn't slow down. And that's
Mm.
been a common theme in my life, is people telling me to slow down, and I'd be like, you guys just need to catch up. Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Like, you have no idea. Like,
Uh-huh.
I have to get this stuff done yesterday. I
Uh-huh.
have to prove myself like constantly, but I
Mm.
didn't know why.
Yeah.
So I would get like burnt out, and I was just so scared about losing my job because like I was getting safety write-ups and
Mm.
wrecking equipment and getting injured, and like they were pulling me into the office and telling me, if this happens again. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I need to talk to my doctor,
Yeah.
about this, and like I can't slow down.
Yeah.
And she was like, I basically kind of had to hold her hand into the diagnosis of maybe I have ADHD. And, she finally gave me some resources, and I was able to find the therapist that I'm actually seeing today.
Oh, nice.
Um, but along that, even that journey, I
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was good, like, because I was getting better. So I didn't need him. And it was mainly like financial reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was moving and I needed to cut like a thing out of my budget,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and that was the thing to go,
Yeah.
and I eventually got to the point where I was almost about to get fired again,
Mm.
because I was got a new position, and I was going on a forklift, and I couldn't slow down. I couldn't
Mm.
control it. So I
Mm.
went back to my therapist,
Uh-huh.
and I had to step down from that position. And I
Dang.
think that that was like the biggest, like it was the best thing to happen to me because I
Yeah.
was so scared in the moment, and I
Yeah.
was like, there was so much pressure and stress that I wasn't even looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I took the rest of the day off,
Yeah.
and I was thinking of other ways that I can make money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I looked into like side hustles, because I
Uh-huh.
wanted to make because I had these bills and
Yeah.
taking a step down took a pay grade cut too. So
Mm-hmm.
I still had to pay these bills.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe look at this side hustle. And then I started to look into like affiliate marketing and podcasting and
Mm-hmm.
like that really opened up the door because like one of them was like finding what you'll be passionate about in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
So like imagine what your life will be like in the next 5 years. And it was like
Mm-hmm.
a book from Pat Flynn, like Let It Fly or something like that. And like
Uh-huh.
so I did all those like exercises and I was like, what's good? What will this look like? The four quadrants of your life
Mm-hmm.
that you care about most, and then what are these problems
Mm-hmm.
that come up? And
Yeah.
one of them was like mental health and
Mm-hmm.
ADHD
Yeah.
and addiction. And
Mm-hmm.
I found like I'm really passionate about ADHD and like advocacy for
Yeah.
ADHD. And yeah, that like led me on a journey of like, okay, now I want to make a podcast about that. Like, let me do like 3 months of research on ADHD so I can become like an expert, like, which isn't a thing. I'm still learning, but
Mm-hmm.
that drive and motivation led me to a podcast called
Mm-hmm.
The Happiness Lab.
Okay.
And I found that one like actually through like a mindful routine, and I was like
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to just have a moment, and I ran a bath. I don't normally take baths, so I had like a bubble bath, and I was like listening, and I was like, I want a podcast on, but I don't want one that's like I'm gonna have to think too much,
Mm-hmm.
or like because I always like write down notes whenever
Yeah.
I'm listening to a podcast. So I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to have to do that because I'm in the bathtub and I'm trying to
Yeah. Yeah.
relax. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, all right, this happiness lab. So they talked about how to be happier at work,
Mm-hmm.
which is they went into like job crafting and which is like creating like requirements that are
Mm-hmm.
in your that aren't in your actual job description that you can
Mm-hmm.
do that'll make that job better. Like one
Yeah.
was like showing more understanding and listening to other people and being more
Mm-hmm.
compassionate.
Yeah.
When they vent, just being like just listening,
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to figure it out but or fix it, but just like, hey, I'm gonna be there for you if you
Yeah.
need somebody to talk to, because we all
Mm-hmm.
have to these stresses that we feel like we can't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another episode that I listened to that talked about how to be more pro social or social or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere along those lines,
Uh-huh.
being an introvert and the value of that. And I was like, okay, because like me, I'm an introvert. I
Mm-hmm.
like the thought of going into a social environment. I'd rather put my hand in a garbage disposal than to go up and meet somebody new. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it. I don't think I need to do it. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't. It's and that's exactly the type of people that I coach.
Mm.
So now that I followed that, and I was like, the one of the first times that I tried it out, because they were saying like, ask somebody, when was the first time you cried,
Uh-huh.
like, or when's the last time you had a really good cry. So I was like
Mm-hmm.
in Baltimore at one of these NA events,
Uh-huh.
and I was sitting next to a guy, and I was like, we had a conversation, and then I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna ask him when was the last time you cried. I was like so scared I was gonna get like punched in the face, or he was gonna be like, what are you talking about? Get away from me. But he actually answered the question.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, like
Mm-hmm.
what's the limit to this? Like
Mm-hmm.
that was actually a good conversation, in that moment. And I ended up going out to like different events and starting to like I went to this Comic-Con in Pittsburgh, and
Mm-hmm.
I met a bunch of people, met a bunch of like celebrities. I even met Danny Glover,
Oh.
talking about my podcast. Not with Danny Glover, but like it was empowering at the end of that. My social battery was completely burnt, but I was still like willing to engage in conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I felt such an empowering feeling.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I want to teach this. Like
Mm.
I feel cuz my with my depression,
Mm-hmm.
like I feel like I'm isolated and I'm trapped,
Mm-hmm.
because it's that loneliness comes up, and I think
Yep.
it's because like I'm single and I don't
Mm-hmm.
have a romantic relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
that's going to solve everything. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's because like I feel like I can't connect with
Mm-hmm.
somebody on a deep level and
Yeah.
talk about what's really going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've learned, like you don't need to like sit there and like form this comment like, oh, I got to talk about small talk, I got to go to this stage, and then no, you can go
Mm-hmm.
like pretty much immediately into those deep conversations.
Yeah.
So a lot of the practice that I get is for, I get street interviews for my podcast, which I stop people on the street,
Mm-hmm.
ask them, random questions, or I've tried different things. I even went and did some dad jokes like one day. And I was like thinking like it was gonna, but whatever, let's just
Mm-hmm.
see if this works.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of good reception. It's like some people really want to have that connection, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
know how.
Yeah.
Um, so I've been able to go into deep topics like suicide, depression, what your passions are,
Mm-hmm.
just pretty much immediately off the bat.
Mm.
Um, and I found that it creates this situation where, because you don't know if you're going to see this person again.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that there's like this judgment from the people in your life, so you
Mm-hmm.
feel like there's this freedom to be able to tell people, this person you just met, things
Mm-hmm.
that you never would tell anybody else,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that you need to get all out. And like, yeah, that's part of what I teach,
Okay.
because I truly believe that in seeing it in my life,
Mm-hmm.
that you need that communication, the right
Mm-hmm.
communication, especially self advocacy,
Mm-hmm.
and expressing how you feel,
Mm-hmm.
in a work environment and in any type of relationship is 100% vital,
Mm-hmm.
because people can't read minds.
Nope.
A lot of issues end up getting swept under the rug, and then
Mm-hmm.
they blow up, and
Yep.
you end up taking it out on the people that you care about the most.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that are closest to you. They're the
Mm-hmm.
ones that you feel the most comfortable with.
Yep.
Um, and unfortunately, they're the ones that also get the brunt of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like being able to talk about those things, and reading my own emotions in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, and being like, is this something that I'm willing to compromise on? Is this a
Mm-hmm.
boundary I'm allowing them to cross? Is this a
Mm-hmm.
hill I want to die on?
Yeah.
So like it's been, and I'm still learning about myself,
Mm-hmm.
but it's been so empowering, and the relationships and the conversations that I get into are just so mind-blowing. And the people that I'm finding that actually have ADHD is
Mm-hmm.
is it's just crazy
Mm-hmm.
how we are like there, just
Mm-hmm.
underneath the surface, just hiding in plain sight.
Well, that's kind of the thing, right? It's not hiding in plain sight. It's just who people are.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, though, you have quite a history, and it's impressive that you've been able to come so far and do so much, especially helping other
Thank you.
people with their societal endeavors, because that is definitely one of the things that keeps a lot of people just from even reaching out to a therapist, is because just society in general, just that preconception of I'm going to open up about something I may be a little shameful of, and I don't want someone else to reject me for it, you know.
Yeah.
And but whenever people come from a spot of vulnerability and authenticity, auth- authenticity, yeah, that's right. Uh, then
Yeah.
then it does open up the gateway for other people to come and say, well, hey, this person was open and they just spilled their guts a little bit. So why can't I do the same? So, like, it's like wearing your heart on your
Yeah.
sleeve. Some people think that that's a bad thing, and I think it's a bad thing if you're doing it to be manipulative. But if you're just
Yeah.
doing it to show people like, hey, I'm a person too, like these are my problems, and you're not trying to get anything out of it, then I think that
Yeah.
that's nothing wrong, right? Um, but whenever you started medicating with your ADHD early on, you were self medicating. So you were just smoking weed for it. Did you go into like alcohol or anything else like that?
In the beginning, it was well. I mean, it was a journey of like,
Mm.
like when I was in my teen years, I definitely
Mm-hmm.
took a lot of ecstasy,
Oh,
because
okay.
I went to clubs and
Mm.
that definitely, but that was like a weekend thing because
Mm. Yeah,
I
yeah.
would just and that's why I felt like it wasn't a problem
Mm-hmm.
because like I would only do it on the weekend, but I would get like sick the next
Mm.
day,
Yeah.
like for like 4 to 6 hours and feel so terrible.
Mm.
But the high was like it. It just I felt like I could do anything or talk to
Mm.
anybody, and which even then, like
Yeah.
I've noticed like because part of it was me trying to hit on girls at
Mm.
some point, and I would get like super drunk, and
Oh.
even then that
Mm.
would be like difficult.
Mm.
I would have to like it would still be scary to have
Mm-hmm.
these conversations.
Yeah.
So it was like I'm able to go and have deeper conversations with people without anything,
Mm-hmm.
without any time, because like that is my drug.
Yeah.
Like
The
that
connection.
is how I feed my spirit,
Mm-hmm.
is like having conversations like this,
Yeah.
or just meeting some random dude at the mall and talking
Mm-hmm.
about ADHD for like
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Who would have thought? Like that's not what he went there for,
Yeah.
but it's an incredible ability, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like anybody that you look up to,
Mm-hmm.
um they have some level of or ability to be social,
Mm-hmm.
pro-social,
Mm-hmm.
um and to be able to talk about these issues on a
Mm-hmm.
platform,
Yeah.
and those usually become the leaders,
Mm-hmm.
because and they're usually more extroverted because they like to talk, and that's
Mm-hmm.
how they charge their battery.
Yeah.
For me, my batteries get charged when I'm silent and eating. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can talk, but I have a limit.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten better. I've worked. It's like a muscle, any other
Yeah, you got to
muscle.
stretch it. You got to stretch it.
Yeah, and it's like you become. I feel like introverts are better at conversations because they value words more. So
Hmm.
it's like because their words are worth, they take out more gas or whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's like, I'm gonna choose what I'm saying wisely because
Mm-hmm.
like I don't want to. I know how much this is going to hurt, or like exhaust me.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's interesting. I've not heard someone argue that introverts are the better conversationalists, but it would make sense whenever you take it into that account. And one of
yeah,
the things that I hear you saying is that there's magic in the everyday conversation that can happen.
Yeah,
Whether it's of getting gas at the gas station and you're just speaking to the cashier for like 5-10 minutes because you said, "Hey, how's your day?" and they actually told you how their day's going, and not just like, "Oh, fine." They're like, "Oh, kind of shitty because
yeah,
like my car broke down on the way to work, and now I got to figure out how I'm going to do it." And you're like, "Oh, hey, I know a guy that actually helps people do that kind of thing." And then you never know the kind of magic that's actually going to happen from a little bit of vulnerability.
exactly.
So,
And we're a social being. Like we
mm,
we were designed to, that's a part of our DNA, and that's how we survive.
yep.
Even back in the prehistoric times, like they had, um, the more you were involved with the tribe, the more
Mm-hmm.
chances you had at survival. If you
Mm-hmm.
weren't that social or acceptable,
Mm-hmm.
like you probably were going to get kicked out of the tribe, and you wouldn't have that safety.
Yeah.
So it is a valuable tool. It may not be that like detrimental, but
Mm-hmm.
it's still like if it could lead to other things that are, you know, that could be worse than death.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
for me, it's like having those conversations. It's like asking somebody, "Hey, how you're doing?" And then, they might be like, "Well, I had a better, this has been I've had better days."
Uh-huh.
And then for me, that's like, okay, they're opening up here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
In a curious way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had deep conversations where they've, talked about the stress on the job.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm beginning to kind of see that and sense that, in other people, and like, okay, this is a conversation, this is a doorway. They're opening
Mm-hmm.
it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I may not ever had a conversation on that, but it's like it opened it up,
Yeah.
and I end up having like getting to know them deeper, becoming, better acquainted, having a more intimate relationship with somebody that I barely talk to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been, and the more that I do it, the more like intuitive it
Mm-hmm.
becomes. Like I
Yeah.
don't even like look for these conversations; they kind of find me.
Yeah. It's interesting how that kind of works, right? That synchronicity aspect.
Yeah,
Um, and one of the things I'm also hearing, well, rather, you pretty much said was that if we weren't accepted by the village and we were kicked out, then we have to kind of do things that appease the people in the village. And whenever we have ADHD, we're growing up, we're annoying people, we're bothering people, we're making people all sorts of pissed off.
yeah,
And so we develop this rejection sensitivity that is like, I'm going to people please in a sense, but that's one of the things that you're also talking about is the self advocacy. You have to speak up for yourself and tell other people like, "Hey, I'm not okay in this instance." You know.
yeah. No,
Uh,
definitely, and communication is key.
mhm.
Especially for ADHD and other neurodiversities, is
Mhm.
we don't know how to stand up for ourselves. We
Mhm.
don't we don't think that we're worthy
Yeah.
to do that.
Yep.
So it's about like developing that confidence in yourself. So if I
Mhm.
can have this deep conversation about who I am with a stranger,
Mhm.
imagine like how I can develop that in the workplace. So if
Mhm.
somebody says something to me that's like, you know, they upset me,
Mhm.
because one of my triggers is somebody talking down to me,
Mm.
or you know a certain tone of voice,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that really sets me off, and like, it's just it it's to the point where I want to quit my job.
Yeah.
It's not anymore, but like I had to look at that,
Yeah. I understand.
and then like settling down
Mhm.
and having that conversation, because I've had my those conversations with my boss,
Mhm.
who they were like, that shouldn't happen, or like, and I felt like you didn't need to yell at me in that situation.
Mhm.
um and so I felt like I felt overwhelmed in that situation.
Mhm.
Like, I know that you probably didn't mean to do that,
Yeah.
but it would really help with like productivity. for
Mm.
me if you didn't talk to me in that way, or if you tried to help me help
Mm.
like get better in that area,
Yeah.
because I didn't know
Mm.
like that was wrong.
Mm.
So if you could like maybe ask questions like, did you know that,
Mm.
that was,
Against rules.
that wasn't what we're supposed to do, like put
Yeah.
cardboard down there. Like
Mm.
I've been doing that my whole time I've been here. You're new.
Mm.
Like I'm just hearing about this.
Mm.
Like if I know not to do it, I'm not going to do it. But like
Mm.
if you're telling me you don't, like that's
Yeah.
not helping.
Yeah.
That's not how people should be treated. I
Mm.
don't care who you are.
No. And that's kind of thing too, right? Like whenever it comes to rules, like if they make sense, like follow them to a T. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's like you just kind of explore, push the envelope because it's like I don't, or even just like this is what's been going on ever since I've been in existence, so why not? Um, but whenever it does come
Yeah.
to having those deep conversations and vulnerabilities with people that we don't know, it's easy because, as far as we know, that person is not ever going to be around again, and it's
Yeah.
no further of an impact on our life. Maybe, but that's kind of the thing too. Is that
You never know.
yeah, we never know. But so why do we have such a hard time doing that same thing with the people that are close to us? Whenever we should be able to rely on them, whenever they should be the safety net, the support net. Why is it so hard to open up to those closer to us?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question, and what I believe is that we've developed this relationship over a long time, so we kind of like
Mm-hmm.
are these people,
Yeah.
that like okay, they're just that's who they are. They're probably not going to change, and
Mm-hmm.
this is how we generally get into those conversations.
Yeah.
And the only way to really change those is over time and changing yourself and how you approach that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because it's going to continue to perpetuate.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's pausing when you feel like, okay, like there's triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe you got to like journal about it and like be like, okay, I had this argument with my dad
Mm-hmm.
about, when we started talking about politics.
Mm-hmm.
What did it when did this start?
Mm-hmm.
What was the point of the argument,
Yeah.
and kind of understanding it from that level,
Mm-hmm.
and then getting to the level of like, okay, you feel the heat rush, or you feel the flash of red or whatever when it's going on, and your mind goes blank, and you just go, and then you're like, maybe you catch it, maybe
Mm-hmm.
you don't,
Mm-hmm.
but it's about seeing it
Mm-hmm.
and noticing it,
Yeah.
because like you're not going to be the impulse is crazy like strong,
Yeah.
like especially with ADHD. It's almost impossible
To stop it.
to completely stop it for any.
Uh-huh.
I'm still impulsive,
Mm-hmm.
like, but it's gotten a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And because I'm able to just either not say anything, or even with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
like, we don't have a lot in common to talk about, and a lot of those conversations become arguments,
Mm-hmm.
where it's just me yelling at him and him yelling at me, and
Yeah.
nothing gets accomplished because we're not listening. It's
Mm-hmm.
not even a conversation anymore.
Yeah.
So I've had to have like set boundaries and be like, you know what, I don't want to talk about that right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah.
um I would appreciate it if we switch the subject, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm not comfortable, with engaging in that conversation anymore. So it's
Yeah.
about like, and that takes some bravery, that
Mm-hmm.
takes some courage
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
be able to stand up, and you got to develop that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's going to come out wrong, but
Yeah.
it came out, and
Uh-huh.
that's the point. A lot
Yep.
of these things that I learned how to
Mm-hmm.
like talk to my boss, it didn't come out right,
Mm-hmm.
or how I would have wanted it to come out, but it came out, and I was able to, like, you can't get to the next step without screwing up the first step,
Mm-hmm.
like without making those mistakes, because you can go back and be like, well, how can I get better with
Mm-hmm.
that, or like I wish I did it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe next time I have, because these conversations will keep coming up,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
so you'll always be able to get better and get into bigger conversations and deeper conversations with much more impact.
Mm-hmm. I do wonder though, on some degrees, not all conversations are really going to be coming about again because some of them are going to be caused by your triggers, right?
Yeah,
So essentially, as you heal yourself, some of those conversations actually might start to lessen or evaporate altogether because you've healed yourself to the point to where you don't have to either sidestep that conversation or you don't
yeah,
have to sidestep that situation. But you're entirely right about just getting it out because there's that saying, the man who holds his tongue to keep the peace for the sake of others starts a war within himself. And
yeah.
it's
It's
very
a good
true.
one.
Yeah, like if I know every time I've held my tongue for the sake of others, just to keep the peace or whatever, I'm sitting there beating myself up and
Yeah.
just tearing myself apart. And it's not even always just me at the moment that's tearing myself apart. I'm tearing everyone else apart in my head and stuff,
Hmm.
And it's just one of those things that if I were to just blurt out whatever I had on my head at the moment, a lot of hardship, especially my own hardship, would have not even been there to begin with. Um,
Yeah.
but whenever you are dealing with the person that is trying to be social and they don't know where they should start, what is one of your go-tos? Where do you tell them to start?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say, like, start at your job or start where you're at your school. Start with the
Mm-hmm.
people that are already in your life,
Mm-hmm.
and just start asking, either asking deeper questions
Mm-hmm.
or telling them about some, and make sure that you trust these people,
Mm-hmm.
to a degree.
Yeah.
Like, go out on a limb a little bit. You're not going to be able to at first be able to be like, well, I'd have to absolutely trust that person with 100%. But like, it's about like, and this is how I started it, was
Mm-hmm.
like talking about my ADHD at my job,
Uh-huh.
with different types of people,
Yeah.
and that led to like crazy conversations
Mm-hmm.
that were like so deep. And of course I'm like passionate about it. So it's like, I probably like bored them to death. So like, they're like, "Oh God, will this guy shut up?" Like,
Nah.
and I'm an introvert, like talk, and
Mm-hmm.
they're not used to me being like at that point being so open and social.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like probably shocking and eye opening, and you're gonna have that in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about like, for me it opened up this version of me
Mm-hmm.
that was like I've started to love.
Yeah.
I started to like, because I was all about the work and like I need to get this job done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't talk to me right now because I'm in the zone. Like,
Uh-huh.
and I still sometimes get like that, but like I'm
Yeah.
I'm more open to having those conversations because I value to see those as much more important than the work.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Like, when somebody's stressed out about something,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, I can't say whether they should be or shouldn't be. That's
Mm-hmm.
their perception.
Yeah.
That's how their brain is seeing the situation, and
Mm-hmm.
I gotta believe that that's their truth. So
Yeah.
it's like, I've when I take the moment, and it's
Mm-hmm.
happened so many times, to sit there and listen,
Mm-hmm.
and allow them to vent, and give
Yeah.
them like a little bit of feedback.
Mm-hmm.
um they say that they appreciate that so much more, and even
Yeah.
if it's something small, like a
Mm-hmm.
couple minutes.
Yeah.
But I value now more like, I'd rather have a deep conversation
Mm-hmm.
than having the productivity, because like when you take care of the people around you at
Mm-hmm.
your job,
Yeah.
the production will come.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll come. Like, you don't
It
have
sure
to
will.
micromanage or threaten people or look over their shoulder.
No.
Just treat them like human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them what's going on. Ask them what they need. Do the
Yep.
best to support that need,
Mm-hmm.
and make them feel like they can open up,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be used against them.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
that's what a lot of workplaces can do, and it's not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes practice.
Yeah. And it is pretty difficult to sit there and stand up for yourself, especially in work, because that's one of those things that work keeps you safe because it gives you a paycheck, which means you get to go home. And so if work
Yeah,
messes up, that's a lot of stress right there. But you're very correct in this fact that being able to just get something off your chest about what is bothering you is sometimes enough to get someone through the workday. And I know I have
yeah,
a friend that is also a coworker or a coworker that turned into a friend, whichever way you want to look at it. And we'll sit there and
yeah,
we'll shoot the shit for a good little bit here and there. Not every day, mind you, but on days where it's like, hey, there's some stuff bothering us, we will let each other know, and that way it's still within like everyone in the company, I guess, to where we know like, hey, this is a problem that's going on that needs to be addressed. So he can talk
yeah.
to the other people that can handle it appropriately, while I can sit there and just handle my
It's
end of
good.
things, you know. So it's one of those things that everyone does need to figure out how they go about it in their own different way. Um, and I do think that some people will have more luck at it with work, you know, because a lot
Yeah,
of people see their work relationship people more than their own family at this point in life, you know, because we spend so much time at work. We see them almost
yeah.
more than those we live with, which is really sad, you know.
No, I know, and that's one of the things like that I really recommend developing is like
Mm-hmm.
having workplace friends,
Yeah.
like maybe your best friends at work because like I know there's one guy that I work with,
Mm-hmm.
and when he's not there, it's different. Like
Yeah.
I'm so like he helps me show up to work,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely like one of the clients of mine,
Mm-hmm.
he's dealt with severe level of depression,
Mm-hmm.
and he's shared about like wanting to kill, thoughts of suicide, and
Mm-hmm.
that things were just not good, and it just seemed like bleak, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been through the social like coaching,
Uh-huh.
and now he's like a completely like he rarely talks about his depression.
Hmm.
He is has like a zest for life,
Uh.
and it's just a total transformation.
Huh.
Like it's honestly like sometimes when I hear him like share these things, it's like if I didn't know him, I'd think he was making it up. Like it's such like a zen transformation, like
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just that's what really inspires me,
Mm-hmm.
and what gets why I do what I do is seeing that in other people and learning from that, and like
Mm-hmm.
what did he do to get there,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe I could try,
Yeah.
so it's all about learning and getting into those like deeper level conversations.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, you keep saying that you're passionate about ADHD. Do you know what passion like means, like the definition and stuff, like the Latin root for it?
No,
So
I'm
passion,
interested.
so passion actually means that you're willing to suffer for it, right?
Yeah,
So that's the thing. So if you're passionate about ADHD, you're willing to suffer for it probably because you've actually suffered with it, right? And now you're
yeah,
learning to tell and teach other people you don't have to suffer with ADHD. You can actually use it as a superpower of sorts.
yeah. Like, and here's an example of what I'm willing to do.
Mhm.
Um, so you talk about like how your job is
Mhm.
like you were scared of losing it because we don't want to speak up, and you
Mhm.
know, um, I've went to the and had conversations
Mhm.
with my plant manager, and my production manager
Mm-hmm.
by myself in the room alone with them about concerns that I had about another employee and the
Mm-hmm.
way that he was treated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because he was given too much and trying to advocate for him in a way
Mm-hmm.
that's for safety, that this is a
Mm-hmm.
concern. This isn't about pointing fingers. This is
Yeah.
about coming up with a solution because this guy's circling the drain right now
Mm-hmm.
mentally, and
Yeah.
he's going through such stress, and he doesn't feel like he can communicate that. So
Mm-hmm.
I was able to have that conversation
Mm-hmm.
and nothing like happened to me. I still have my job. It didn't go necessarily the way that I had hoped it to
Uh-huh.
because it was more about like, he knows what he can do. And I was trying to explain, like, when you have ADHD,
Mm-hmm.
and I know from personal experience, like, when you see something needs to be picked up and he's a forklift driver,
Mm-hmm.
like, you feel bad or you feel until that thing's done. You
Mm-hmm.
feel bad because you let that person down. So
Yeah.
you don't think about yourself. You don't think about your needs.
Mm-hmm.
In that mindset. And I've been trying to work with him
Mm-hmm.
to get to the point where it's like, if you need to work, see you first, and if you need to take a break,
Mm-hmm.
please take a break because it's like you're gonna if you don't take a break, you're gonna break.
Yeah.
So it's like being able to advocate for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even sent, because of that conversation, I've
Mm-hmm.
sent a letter to corporate,
Mm.
talking about not just that situation, but it was a whole
Mm-hmm.
lot of things that were going on that
Yeah.
were unsafe and concerning. And coming from that voice of like, I'm not pointing the finger here. I see something that we can do that can
Mm-hmm.
help with that,
Yeah.
and this needs to be talked about and looked at
Yeah.
because it's going to become a bigger problem,
Mm. Oh yeah.
and I'm still there. Like that conversation with corporate was refreshing because they opened the door with me. That this plant that I work at has
Mm-hmm.
had issues with mental health,
Mm-hmm.
and valuing that and appreciating that. So, it was
Yeah.
like sweet, like that was a big win.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a real big win, and it never would have happened had you not taken that little bit of a leap of faith, if you will. And that's
Yeah, if I
awesome.
hadn't started talking to people on the street,
Mm-hmm.
or at my job,
Mm-hmm.
like I would have never got to those conversations. Like they lead up.
Mm-hmm.
Like it leads to a better place. Like it opens up doorways
Uh-huh.
that would normally have never even you wouldn't even be able to see.
Mm-mm. Not even know that it was there.
Yeah.
Real quick, we are getting near the end of this episode. So, do you think that we'd be able to see you back on in the future to talk about more ADHD stuff?
Yeah, sure. It would be a pleasure of mine. I definitely enjoyed our conversation.
Heck yeah. Awesome. Glad to hear it. And also, I did forget to mention in the before call that I do have the game show segment for you ready to go if you want to play it real quick.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
all right. So, Ron, our game show for you today is ADHD, always doing, hardly deciding. So, I'm going to throw you some rapid fire micro scenarios, and
Ooh.
okay, let me restart. So, I'm going to throw you some rapid fire micro scenarios where ADHD tendencies either trip someone up or could turn into a win. I just need you to pick how you'd handle it, and we're going to see if we can turn each one into a superpower moment. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. So, number one, you've got 12 tabs open in your brain and on your browser. What's your next move?
I don't know. I just depending on how important they are, I have probably about 32 browsers open, tabs on like three different browsers, so I don't want to forget them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I
fair
keep
enough.
them open.
Fair enough. Number two, You've hyper focused on a project for 9 hours and forgot to eat lunch. How do you spin this into a win?
You know, yeah, I would definitely stop right then and get something to eat. Say I'm done for the day. You know, that was an amazing productivity. Productive moment.
Uh huh.
Um, yeah, good job on that win. But
Yeah.
let's try to break that up next time.
Yeah. There you go. I like that. Number three, someone calls you scatterbrained in a meeting. What's your comeback?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I get like that. It's just who I am, and thank you for letting me know. Sometimes that's a good thing.
Thanks for reminding me about that. I totally forgot I was scatterbrained. Love it.
Thanks for that
Number
observation.
Number four, you suddenly remember an idea from 3 months ago while you're in the shower. What do you do with it?
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely something that's real.
Yeah.
I do my best to
Mm-hmm.
not just jump out of the shower and write it down, but I like try to remember it,
Mm-hmm.
as best as I can. And as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm definitely writing it down on my notepad.
Yep. Dry erase markers, by the way, they work in the shower.
Really? That's
Yeah.
yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that.
I would do it myself, but I shower with the lights off, so I don't know what I'd be
Hmm.
writing. So,
How's that?
what, showering without the lights?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so amazing. It is to me, I just love the dark because I'm light sensitive. So it
Oh
just
wow.
takes away a whole bunch of sensory like input, and so I
Nice.
use nighttime showers for a sense of like uh, essentially decompression and a little bit of like meditation, like waterfall meditation style. Uh,
That's I'll have to try that.
yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, just make sure that like you know your surroundings in your tub and whatever.
Yeah,
Like we have
that
a
can be
little
a problem.
we have a little anti-slip mat to make sure that I don't really screw it up too much. But
Yeah.
that's the thing too. Got like a little smartwatch that I can use as a light if I need to. My phone's waterproof. I can take it in there if I need a little light. But yeah, just
Nice.
turn the lights off and just enjoy shower. For some reason, it I like it a lot. So some people think it's really weird. I really enjoy it. So.
No, I think that, I try to do mindful showering,
Mhm.
so it's like feeling smelling the soap or,
Mhm.
feeling how that feels or how the water is washing down and how that feels
Mhm.
on my different. And I can imagine that would be like, that would really help that,
Yeah.
because I'm like not as much in my brain.
Mhm. Yeah. And number five, to top it off, your friend says you never finish anything. How do you prove them wrong without saying a word?
I mean, I gotta say a word though. Oh yeah, rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
Nice.
We
Yeah,
can
you
finish
stumped
it.
me on that one.
We can finish that right now. So,
It's a good
uh,
one.
Ron, with this being said, you've played our ADHD, always doing, hardly deciding, and you have earned the honorary title of the neurodivergent navigator because you're guiding people through a world built for linear thinkers, helping them chart their own course without losing who they are. So, Ron, it has been amazing to have you on, and I know that we're like right near the end of this episode, which really sucks because I feel like we could go a whole lot deeper. So I'm really glad that you
Yeah,
already said that you're willing to come back on.
I appreciate that, and you can always come on my show too.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love that. Um, but I do have one other question for you, real quick. So, uh, the name of this podcast is Retrieving Sanity, and we explore how all facets of life impact mental health. Looking at the incredible motley adventures of your life, what does retrieving sanity personally mean to you today, and what's one practice or perspective you believe is crucial to anyone on that journey?
Yeah, retrieving sanity would be simple for me. It would be like practicing mindfulness, having a daily practice getting that space,
Mm-hmm.
being able to reflect on like what's important, on why I'm, if I'm rushing and I notice myself rushing, so I'm aware, being able to be aware of that, or the
Mm-hmm.
thoughts in my head, like, is this something? What is the rush?
Mm-hmm.
What is the rush? Like, why do you need to do this? Don't you have a good life already? Why do you need to do this?
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I have everything that I need.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, everything else is just like icing on the cake,
Yeah. I
so
feel
to
that.
speak.
I totally feel that. Um, ow. Okay.
You all right?
Yeah, just scratched my nose and it just was like really sensitive right there for some reason. Ow. Um,
Interesting.
yeah. We've got a few minutes left, so I totally forgot to ask you earlier on. Where can people find you if they need to help? If they need to get help with their ADHD?
Yeah, definitely. So, if you're a guy 40 and over, suffer with depression, anxiety, or ADHD, or addiction, and you want to become more pro-social, or you want to work on, things that'll help really build deeper connections in your life and unlock the version of you that that was always there. You can find me at youradhdguy.com. That's There's a link in there to get a free discovery call with me so you can figure out what we're going to do, what game plan you got, or if you're even a good fit. And I also am offering your guest a free self discovery journal for adults with ADHD. It's something that I published, something that, it's helped a lot of people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
That's also available on that site, youradhdguy.com, right at the top. And if you really want some tips and, good, you want to hear more of me, you can find me at my podcast, Don't Mind Me. I'm different. I mean, I just have ADHD. See, I even forgot my own podcast name. That
um.
ADHD. You get
Yep.
and that's on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite platform.
Sweet. Um. Well, Ron, it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure having you on. And I got to say, thank you for everything you've done for yourself and everything you've done for everyone else around you. Because it sounds like you're just lighting up the world with everything that you're doing.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. Thank you for your kind words and your warm reception and that definitely that little quiz at the end was a little surprise. Like it was nice though. And I'm honored and flattered and hope to work with you some more, man.
Heck yeah, man. Stick around for the after call, but everyone else, we've got to get going. So I've got to just say thank you for listening to Retrieving Sanity on WDJY 99.1 FM. And you can always find us on YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, Apple, wherever else you find your podcast. But don't forget to subscribe because we got stuff coming out more than we do on the radio because we just got busy. So, with that, also remember to love yourself, love others if you can, but you got to love yourself first. And as always, much love. See you next week.
Definitely.
Schlan and stop.